Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Terramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Terramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blogger inside the OAA, and one of the hosts between Terminas and Ori Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends on YouTube as well, and also on The Voice, on the local Voice here. I got Ian Locke this week here. 6th straight week in a row, I believe.
Hey, you know what? It's starting to become a habit, and I'm having a good time.
That's good. That's good.
As long as you're having a good time with me hanging, I'll hang.
That's good. Of course, this will be the last show of 2017.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? You know, if we're going to be heading into 2018. Well, we got a lot to talk about. Of course, we got the major story here, of course, is the Thomas Kithier situation. Still, it's been going on for 3 weeks. Can you just call it a soap opera?
Yeah, it should be on around, 1 o'clock on ABC, NBC. It is a soap opera. It's Young and the Restless.
It's a soap opera. I mean, I'm serious.
Bold and the Beautiful.
And now, as we mentioned, the last 3 weeks, they've officially sued.
Yes.
The Kithier family sued the MHSAA and the Dakota.
Yep.
And they hired two well-known...
I think you called that one, Sam.
I did. I mean, they hired two well-known attorneys, Steve Fishman and Vin Johnson. Of course, I'm very curious to see what people think here about this, because this is I know it involves a high school kid wanting to play high school basketball, but you know, when it's a recruit going to Michigan State, you have basically all the evidence against him.
Yeah.
Basically, and then now you use I believe this is their last option. It's the legal system.
It is. This is it because they went through the regular channels, correct?
Right. They went through the regular channels. Yep. Clarkson went through the available avenues. Did not work out. I mean, but now you're looking at some of the uglier sides of things. Of course, we're going to talk about Tom Rashad in a minute. I mean, why I think he needs to go. But,
okay.
But Vin Johnson wrote an interesting comment here, and I want to read this to you on air. Dakota's growth...
And just remind everybody who that is.
Of course, Vin Johnson is an attorney for Thomas Kithier.
Yep.
He is one of their main attorneys. So he said, quote, Dakota's gross misconduct has threatened Thomas' ability to attend Clarkson High, the school of his choice, simply because they would be losing their star basketball player. A high school senior and legal adult should be allowed to attend anywhere he or she wants, whether it includes basketball, volleyball, being a member of a marching band, or of the drama club. It's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's your lawyer there talking, and that's the argument. They're going to say, and I don't necessarily agree.
No.
But they're lumping sports in with other academic programs. They say, hey,
not the case.
Like your argument last week, you mentioned that, say, let's transfer to Lake Orion because of the great broadcasting program.
Or DTV there.
Yeah. So we see where the argument's kind of headed, but I don't necessarily believe that. That's
garbage because here's why. Because, sports and theater, sports and like working at sports.
It's not apples and apples.
Apples and apples.
Yeah,
it's not like roses and roses. It's
well,
horrible.
also, and before the show, we were chatting, saying, give me one instance of a student transfer who is athletically inclined, or an athletic transfer. I'm just not saying this right, but it's like a kid transferring from another school district that is very active on the varsity squad, that these transfers aren't athletically motivated.
Yeah, I mean, you look at.
Give me one.
Give me one that's not. I mean, I can think of probably a few transfers that were athletically motivated. I mean,
but that's what we're talking about.
I mean, we're academically motivated. Yeah. You know what I mean? Academically motivated. I can think of, there were several of those moves I thought were academically motivated.
But when you get into the high-profile names,
yeah.
Tell me, give me one.
I would say, and then you look at, of course, why they got into this mess. I mean, and it's basically, it involves the links rule.
Yes.
It involves of course, where we know Kithier played with Foster Lawyer.
Yes.
That's the MHA's main argument here.
Yes. And that is the main link.
That's the link.
Pun intended, I guess.
That's the link. I mean, because you look at, okay, I mean, here's a guy, of course, I figured when Dylan Alderson came to Clarkston, and he admitted this in the Flint Journal, that his move was athletically motivated, and he was allowed to play.
Yeah. And saying it.
And he said it.
In print.
He said it in print. It's in writing.
But here's the craziness about the whole thing. He can say that, but since the school he was leaving did not protest,
Davis
right?
didn't protest,
they
no.
signed off on the documents,
Right.
that no rule is violated,
Right.
even though it was openly said in print that, hey, this is why I'm going.
This is why, because it's linked to Foster Lawyer.
Yes,
It's linked to him.
And what was the selective rule, right? The quote. Selective rule enforcement. Did you have a quote? Was that part of that quote too?
Yeah,
It's not a selective rule.
No, it's
enforcement.
in the rule. I mean,
it's a rule.
The MHA enforced that rule in 2014, where I think all these transfers were starting to get out of control.
Yes.
I mean, and I think transfers are getting out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, of course, let's look at football. Detroit Cast Tech.
Yes.
Of course.
How many they have?
How many do they have on that
double
team?
digits.
They have 11.
Yeah.
They had 11 transfers that came in. You look at West Bloomfield, and ever since 2013, how many of them are transfers?
Yeah.
How many of them? And then you look at, of course, Waterford Mott. That's a whole other can of worms.
Yes.
I mean, you look at, and, West Bloomfield's in the OAA. So when you look at West Bloomfield, of course, this year they had at least 5 transfers with D1 scholarship offers.
Yeah.
If I'm the MHSAA and I'm looking at kids that already have a D1 scholarship, wouldn't you investigate these athletes?
I would agree with you. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's happening, but again, it goes back to the whole, Dakota or whatever school didn't sign off on it.
Right.
So
Dakota did
we
not
didn't
sign
agree
off
on the transfers, so we were wronged. And then the MHSAA wakes up. Also, they get knocked in the head. Well, you better wake up and start enforcing your rules that you have on the books. Because somebody didn't sign a sheet of paper over here when this is going on back and forth. And the hypocrisy is
the MHA,
but also Dakota benefited.
They benefited from transfers. Let's not forget. I mean, Paul Taco's team is not, they're not innocent in this. They had 3 transfers from Mount Clemens, 3 seasons ago. Of course, they all went on to play college basketball. And, of course, one of them, known as Jermaine Jackson Jr., also came in that cult from Mount Clemens, because we know from that situation how that unfolded was an investigation there.
Yeah.
And then that got Jermaine Jackson Sr. forced out. Now he's an assistant at Detroit Mercy, where his son's at. And then you have Jack Ballanite, who transferred from Warren De La Salle to Macomb, Dakota. He played his senior year. MHA didn't have any issue with that.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at this case here, it sounds like Macomb, Dakota has an issue with Clarkston, considering that.
To say the least.
This is going to make Macomb, Dakota, Clarkston hate Macomb, Dakota even worse than they already do.
There has to be something under this whole storyline. There's got to be something cruising here. Is it a fact of, like the quote from the lawyer saying, Macomb, Dakota was disappointed that a senior leader, a star
basketball
player left him in the lurch.
Here's the thing. I mean, I know the Kithier family and Paul Taco had issues. I know they had issues, and Kithier wanted out of Macomb, Dakota. We found out for about 2 years now.
Okay.
And, they were looking for schools to get him. And his family was looking for schools that would fit his curriculum and activities. I mean, he looked at Troy. They looked at Troy in the Troy School District.
Okay.
If he would have played for Troy Athens, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. If he would have played, they looked at other schools, but
who knows? I mean,
they
if he's
chose
that good,
Clarkston. They chose Clarkston because here's why.
Yeah.
I think the Kithier family they knew how good Clarkston's basketball program was. They knew.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the reasons why they chose to move to Clarkston.
Yeah.
You know?
And to the academic argument saying, hey, Clarkston has my academic wants and needs.
That's not true. It's semi-true.
It may, but come on.
It may, but come on. I mean,
the underlying reason is athletics.
Athletics. I mean, it's truly what it is. I mean, it's athletics at its finest. I mean,
of course, that's an opinion.
Yeah, but and then of course you look at, and we know Clarkston basketball. They're not guilty of transfers because they're no strangers to when it comes to it. Let's look at Taven Throgmorton. He came over from Wall Lake Northern. Tristan Meissen, who's currently on the team, came from Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Keary, of course, Wisconsin recruit, came from Worthington Christian, Ohio. Hank Scheimel came from Maryland. And, of course, we know about Dylan Allison. Yeah. But then, of course, here's Foster Lawyer. When you look at Lawyer, of course, we know about John Lawyer. Of course, we know about he's been.
It's a detailed story. The story arc in that soap opera is not much drama.
Yeah, there's not much,
right? Because it's well documented. Mm-hmm. They moved here. He's a coach. His dad's a coach, and so on. So here we go.
And and once Lawyer moved on, I think his family stayed in Clarkston. You know what I mean?
Which lots of families do.
A lot of families do. Yeah. I mean, Clarkston's a great community. Mm-hmm. Clarkston's a great community. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Of course. And
I don't see that any different than my neighbor.
No.
Right across the street from me in my neighborhood, he went to Texas to find work because he couldn't find anything up here. His family stayed behind to get the kids situated in school.
Right.
And then once everything was settled, I think 2 years later, he sent for the family, and there they are. But, it's that there is no issue with any of those.
Right. But, when you look at Clarkston, they moved in the district, they signed the transfer forms and everything was, Clarkston did the transfer thing right here.
And the other thing that is odd that I didn't know about is that he's 18.
He's 18.
And when he was, condo, they moved him in last spring,
summer.
This summer, okay. So he's trying to get acclimated, whatever, but he's 18.
Mm-hmm.
Does being a legal adult come into play here? Can, if you're still under guidance, if you're still in high school? Because when you're 18 and you're still in high school, you have you can be charged with adult if you're with a crime.
You can be charged with adult if you're a crime.
You have to register for the draft.
But I think at the end of the day.
But you really don't have many rights.
No, you don't have really
until you're out of high school.
Until you're out of high school.
It seems like anyway.
When you look at, of course, the age difference, and I understand, I get what the family had to go through with their ailing family member.
Yes.
I get it. But
that's a compelling part of the story.
Mm-hmm, that is a very compelling part. But when you look at how you look at it from this perspective is, okay, you look at the Kithier situation. First of all, why is he at Clarkston? Why is he there? You know what I mean? And everybody's going to say, well, it's that link to Foster Lawyer.
Yes.
Because, and everybody.
And it's hard not to see it.
Explain to me why Taylor Keary's there. It's that link to Foster Lawyer. Everything, it's sounding like a principle circle here, that everything evolves around Foster Lawyer.
But how many of his teammates currently are on his AAU squad?
I know there were 2.
And have they been together all these years, or is this a new transfer in, or a current teammate who's signed up on?
Remember, let's not forget, we had Dylan Alderson that came there. He was a teammate with Lawyer.
Okay.
And then you look at, but
that's before the link rule, correct? Because wasn't it last year they signed the link rule? MHSAA started it because.
And then now you had Taylor Keary, of course, there, and now you have. Of course, Thomas Kithier. All 3 of them have something in common. They played AU ball, Foster Lawyer.
Yes, but the MHSAA passed the link rule a year ago.
They passed the link rule,
right? It's a recent.
Yeah, it's a recent rule. It's a recent rule.
So, but still, even under that recent rule, kids were still transferring because ADs and schools can sign off on it.
Also, they're using a false pretense of academic reasons because, because the school they originally were going to, are better academically. You know, you look at Clarkston; they're a very good academic school
for the subject matter he was looking for.
Yeah, for the subject matter he was looking for. And then you look at, of course, you know, that's why a lot of people, especially basketball players, go to Clarkston.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, I think the MHSAA has to be more clear when it comes to the rules, because
or I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that was in the newspaper article.
Yeah, the Detroit Free Press article.
Yeah, the Free Press was very, very good. Who was the author of that again?
Nick McCabe.
A great one. Please look it up if you're interested in more details. I
have the blog up on my blog.
Okay.
I have it on my blog, and I'm Sammy@blogspot.com.
But that was a good point in that was, if you want this to stop, all the MHSAA has to do is have a rule that says, if you transfer and it's athletically motivated, you sit out the first semester.
But do you think it should be included to include academically motivated? Would you do it? Would you do it?
You'd have to prove academics? Like, you'd have to prove that the school you're leaving is insufficient for what you want to.
You have to prove it. I think you have to prove it.
I would see a lot of kids not being denied, and the MHSAA doesn't want to deal with this paperwork. They say they're not in an enforcement agency, right?
Yeah, but
they're a legislative body or whatever. They make rules, but they don't want to have. They don't have the staff to hunt these kids down. They've admitted as such.
Well, they've admitted it, sure. But here's the issue. I mean, if you want to be a league that, you know, you have at least nearly 600 schools, you know, in the state of Michigan, you have to make sure, you know, if you want to be an enforcement, you have to make sure everybody is playing alongside the rules here.
Yeah.
Something is not right here when you look at this court case. Something's not right.
Well, with the MHSAA, I agree with them. They don't have the staffing to hunt every one of these down. You know, everybody's moving around, people sliding around. You know, I don't have the statistics of how many people transferred or students transferred from one school to the other. And, oh, by the way, they do run cross country. Oh, they are a lacrosse player or whatever, right? But I know the staff up there is not really big. If you ever seen their offices, it's smaller than our studio.
Small office. Yeah, it's very small office.
It's teeny, right? And so I can see why they don't want to get into being that I'm going to investigate and hunt down the things.
But if you want to enforce your own rules, you have to basically.
I'd say make the rules a little easier to manage and just say it's black or white.
Yeah.
Is this academically? Like, we could throw the academics in there, Sam. But if you say it's athletically motivated, then you just say you sit out X amount of days and then you play.
Admit this to me. Do you think? I know we have some transfers that are clearly academically involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But most of these transfers that go are athletically involved.
Yeah, I agree.
Nick McKay states this perfectly. Yeah. Perfectly. I mean, you know, and he said that the Kithiers claim that their son transferred to Clarkston for academic reasons. He said it was nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, I agree with that assessment. Do you?
Yes. I mean, my gut says yes.
You know?
They threw it out there as a, I don't know, a salve on the burn. Say, oh, yeah, by the way, it was academic. Like we said, give me one instance where the high-level recruit or a high-level player transferred and it was academically motivated.
I mean, if it was academically motivated, then, you know, when you look at...
Why don't you go to Birmingham?
Broadcasting schools. When you look at broadcasting schools, you know what I mean? When you look at broadcasting schools who've done magnificently well, won awards, you know, and I can think of two of them for sure.
Yeah.
That's Davison, you know.
Davison, very great, a really good program.
Yep. And Lake Orion with WDBC.
Hey,
those are the only two I know.
WDBC just got in the Hall of Fame. So
that's the only two that I know that's had really, really good communication schools, broadcasting programs, you know,
at the high school level. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, and then you look at, and then of course you're saying to yourself, okay, Kithiers moved to Clarkston. Let's see. Hoop it up.
Yes.
Clarkston defending state champs. You know what I mean? I'm playing with my future teammate and buddy Foster lawyer. I mean, like, you know, this is where it's getting to.
Well, with the lawsuit, don't you see this as kind of a moratorium, or what are you going to say? You're going to go and there's going to be a decision made.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to have some ripple effects moving forward.
Absolutely, it's going to have some ripple effects. Because here's why it's going to have some ripple effects. Because if he gets an injunction, he's going to be allowed to play right away. And that's going to open up an avenue for other athletically motivated transfers to use the court system to basically to get what they want.
I have a feeling this might be a more, I used the wrong word earlier, maybe it's a litmus test where go to it, challenge the MHSAA, challenge this rule. If you can get an injunction or a stay, right, you can say, hey, we'll put it on hold, you play while we figure this out. I think the MHSAA is going to have to change the way they do things. As far as this is concerned, because, if it goes in his favor, which we don't know, I mean, they could just say, we don't want to have to deal with this. Get out of here, right? They could just throw it out.
They could just throw it out.
But if something moves forward and the court system does say, yeah, there's something funky here. Why is the complainant, Dakota, saying no on signing off when they were the recipients of the same rule?
Yeah, they were the benefits.
It benefited
them. They got to a Final Four.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to a Final Four, and it's interesting here because I'm reading the Spartan Nation article.
Okay.
Spartan Nation article here, and, when you look at Tom Rashid, that's the guy's name.
Okay.
He's the MHA assistant executive director. He handles the transfers and all that. He handles them all. You know what I mean?
Sounds like he's on vacation.
It seems like it, but but you look at, of course, with this case. I mean, he's a guy that I know. He was at a meeting with the OAA. At the OAA athletic directors meeting in Bloomfield Hills, and presented a presentation surrounding this exact topic, transfers. I mean, of course, he had an issue. He had an issue with Groves, I believe, according to Spartan Nation's blog. About, of course, Groves, we know about the Colin Hurd situation where Hurd transferred out of Groves to West Bloomfield. So,
okay.
And basically, I'm trying to look it up right now, but it's very interesting because Jeff Cozen, of course, the athletic director of Clarkson, of course, he was in that meeting. He was in that meeting with Rashad, and because
that transfer went through.
That transfer did go through. Yep, that did go through, and that was one of the big reasons why West Bloomfield won the state championship game. Of course, they were beaten by Clarkson. In that one. So when you look at the relationship, and there's a allegation here surrounding Rashad's relationship with the athletic director at Macomb, Dakota. That would be Mr. Fusco.
Okay.
So there could be some connection there allegedly, and Spartan Nation says, and they're looking at that relationship, possibly using Fusco's Rashad's influence to deny this transfer when you look at it.
Oh.
So this is an interesting one. So I have the Spartan Nation one on here. If you want to look at it, basically, this is something we've never seen before.
No.
Nothing. You know what I mean? When it comes to rejecting a transfer, when you look at it here, of course, and it's very interesting because you look at, okay, I just pulled it up now. This is what Jeff Cozen, Clarkson's AD, said.
Yeah, what does he have to say?
At one of our OA athletic director meetings, we meet monthly, happened to be at Bloomfield Hills, Doyle Center. We had a guest speaker. It happens every September. We have a representative, typically from the MHA. The topic of the conversation just happened to be transfers within the state. I remember a slideshow presentation that that's Tom Rashad, had put together. Within that slideshow presentation, he said that numerous times the policy that we have in the state of Michigan with regards to transfers is a broken policy, and that the MHSAA is looking to adopt a new policy starting in the 2018-2019 school year.
Oh.
And he kind of got our opinions on it, and he kind of gave the philosophy being looked at behind looking at changing the rules. I know we had a conversation. We had Tom Flynn, who was Groves' AD, was in the room, and he had just gone through an athletically motivated transfer issue with one of his running backs from West Bloomfield, which is Colin Hurd.
Yeah.
And he's currently at West Bloomfield. And he said, and he asked at point blank, Tom Rashad said, Tom, why as athletic directors do we go through this process, this tenuous process, if at the end of the day, everybody's eligible? And Rashad said numerous times to prove an athletic transfer is very difficult based on the policies that we have in place, based on the fact that the way you judge and determine transfers is a broken policy, and that's why we're looking to revamp it. And I remember that conversation with Tom Flynn, and Tom Rashad got a little heated. You could tell that he was irritated by it, Tom Flynn. And we were going through the same exact process. I remember sitting at the table with West Bloomfield, and the AD at West Bloomfield said there's no way to determine an athletic transfer. It's very difficult to prove it. It's very difficult to monitor it. You know, Tom Rashad said it himself at least 5 or 6 times within our meeting with all the ADs in the room that determining and ruling that an athletic transfer is truly an athletically motivated transfer is damn near impossible to determine.
But they did this time.
They did this time.
Well, that's what was admitted by the MHSAA.
They admitted it. It's difficult to prove.
But they did it this time?
They did it this time. But it tells me that the MHSAA is so inconsistent with this rule.
Well, inconsistent is, I would say this is the inconsistency of them turning it down. Mm-hmm. They're pretty consistent in allowing it to happen.
Because because I agree with you. They
you know what I mean? It's like, let it go.
Do I think personally a change in leadership has to happen? Do I think a change in leadership has to happen?
Well, I know what you think.
I think a change in leadership has to happen because I think Tom Rashad has to go.
Well, I'm not going to say that. He works for the entity that sets the rules, right?
Right.
And ultimately, the ADs do the ADs get a say in what the legislation says or the rules say?
I don't know.
They have to have some sort of input. You would think.
I would think they would have input, but I don't know if they do or not because when you look at.
I mean, they're the ones complaining back to the MHSAA to say, hey, there's something wrong here.
There's something wrong here. And, and Macomb, Dakota, of course, wrote a complaint and basically. And
that's all that had. And it seems like that's all that needed to happen.
That's all that needed to happen. But this is a whole mess.
It's a complete mess.
It's a complete mess. From
the MHSAA agreeing that their rules are impossible to enforce or prove or whatever. That's a mess. Mm-hmm. And then you have the mess of, well, is it spite that Dakota is not signing off on this transfer, which I think there's an element of that.
Yeah.
They didn't go, oh, no,
I mean, I'm saying it.
Not shake your hand and say, good luck to you, son.
Dakota,
have fun. Good luck.
I mean, and it's very interesting. And there was a story on WDIV.
Yeah.
Saying about Dakota's comments about this, which I'm going to get your thoughts after this interview.
Yeah. So we pulled up the video. Click on Detroit.
Click on Detroit, which is WDIV.
It was posted yesterday at about 6:17 p.m.
Yep.
And it's pretty in-depth. It runs about 3 minutes, and we'll play some experts from here. So starts in the studio. So here we go. A little update from Channel 4 on this whole Kithier situation. So let's see if it rolls here. Here we go.
Controversy surrounding MSU basketball recruit Thomas Kithier ruled ineligible to play his senior season at Clarkston High School after he transferred.
Again, this is courtesy of Click on Detroit, Channel 4, WDIV.
The MHSAA says it's an athletically motivated move, which is a violation of their rules. Now it appears this battle is headed to court. Local 4's Coco McAvoy has spoken with all parties involved and joins us live this evening.
Let's hear what Coco has to say, Sam.
People, parents, schools, this really has been the hot topic the past few weeks.
Yes, Karen, it really has been a hot topic, and this is a complicated case with a lot of moving parts, so I want to boil it down. Thomas Kithier is a basketball star. He's playing for MSU next year. The Michigan High School Athletic Association ruled he can't play for Clarkston this year because his former high school filed a complaint about his transfer, but the thing is, kids transfer all the time for various reasons, so Clarkston says Kithier is being singled out, and they want to know why.
Feels like it.
The Clarkston boys basketball team is unstoppable.
So
Thomas Kithier's decision
Lake
to
Orion
transfer
game,
there and also play for the team.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Bigger than Thomas at this point.
Jeff Coaston right now.
Never seen a case like this in his 36 years as coach.
It felt like we had the Thomas Kithier rules, and we had the rest of the kids.
Coach Dan Fife.
The transfer rules.
This started a few months back when Kithier decided he wanted to transfer from Macomb, Dakota to Clarkston. Both schools had to sign a transfer form.
We had the okay from Macomb, Dakota, from their principal that they would indeed sign the form.
Oh, well, that they would.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.
Saying Kithier's decision was athletically motivated. The Michigan High School Athletic Association says in a statement the allegation was confirmed that the transfer was for athletic reasons.
How?
That's against their rules. So they decided Kithier can't play. Clarkston appealed and fought, but
now it may be up to the family to look to take matters more into
Principal
their
at
own
Clarkston
hands.
High School.
they're doing so by hiring a pair of big-time lawyers.
They could care less at the Michigan High School Athletic
Steve Fishman
Association
speaking right now.
about this kid, and that is wrong.
The lawyers are taking the case free of charge, hoping to get Kithier on the court soon.
We're not looking for money. We're not looking to hang them out to dry. We just want him to be treated fairly.
Interesting. Isn't Fishman a friend of the Fife family?
He went to college with them. He went to college with Dan Fife.
Okay, so there's a little
They're roommates.
So,
but I think the most interesting one, and I know Macomb, Dakota sent out a statement. Chippewa Valley School sent out a statement.
Yes.
Over the weekend, I want to hear that statement because you and me were like, I was at shock over this statement.
Well, I didn't realize they agreed to it verbally.
Well, they did agree to it verbally. You know what I mean? They did agree it, but when the name was Thomas Kithier, that's when it changed.
Crazy.
Now,
I want to make sure listeners and viewers alike, I'm not for or against any of this stuff. I just find it really crazy.
It's insane
that this is happening. And obviously there's going to be, it's odd that it would happen to such a high-profile guy at this point, that this topic would come to a head, right? They had so many other opportunities to deal with this, and now it comes to this.
Now it comes to this because it's a high-profile case.
Sammy, that's it's a national story.
It's a national story now.
I was watching the ticker on ESPN, and it rolled by the ticker.
It rolled by in the OA. I mean, like an OA player rolled ineligible.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's insane. That's really insane.
Well, we have you dug something up from WJR?
Yes, we did. We have the Steve Fishman interview.
Okay.
But I want to hear the comment from Chippewa Valley Schools. Remember that week they said something on the WDIV site.
Is it still there?
That they said that they
Oh, here's Chippewa Valley. Okay,
yep.
So here's
their statement.
Okay.
I want to go into direct depth on.
Okay, again, click on Detroit, cruise on over there, take a peek at it.
Mm-hmm.
Rules are not optional. They are required and binding on all schools that are membered. Now, they also, in the statement, said that Thomas is a great kid and that they wish him the very best. Back to you.
Gracious.
All right, Coco, I have to ask because one of the folks at Clarkston said there's the
great kid, but slam the door.
Well, that they said that the rules were not binding.
Let me try to back that up a little.
The rules were not binding?
They had a graphic up that kind of listed their exact quote.
When I look at the situation.
There we go.
All
right, so here's the quote on the screen as transposed by WDIV.
And Chippewa Valley Schools.
Yeah, Chippewa Valley from Superintendent of Chippewa Valley Schools, Ron Roberts. Whether or not any school supports the MHSAA rules or the rationale behind them is irrelevant. These rules are not optional. They are required and binding on all schools that are members.
Okay.
They're making it sound like Clarkston's picking and choosing. It sounds like Dakota's picking and choosing because
that's what it is. That's what it is because
no one's saying they're optional.
No, I mean, like, by the looks of it, everything these days are optional.
I know.
Because, when you look at when you look at, of course, the choice of enforcement,
yes,
to go by this route, you know, my goodness.
Because we know, I mean, if you're a MHSA member school, yeah, you got to follow their rules and regs, and you know, for usually it's rules of competition and different things like that. But it also includes the stuff we're talking about today. But you know, it says the rationale behind them, the MHSA rules, is irrelevant. The rules are not optional. But it seems like they are.
That's BS, in my opinion.
They are optional. I don't know, man.
They're optional. You know, and I know we're
talking in circles at this point. And
we brought, and of course, we have the interview from WJR 760 from Steve Fishman.
Yeah, WJR, he's on the Frank Beckman show, right?
Yep, on the Frank Beckman show. Legendary announcer of the Michigan Wolverines.
Oh, don't get me started on that guy.
I know. I'm not going to get
legendary, pain in my eardrums.
I know.
All right, this was posted about 24 hours ago, and it is on the Clarkston basketball Twitter account.
Yes, it is. I mean, very good Twitter page. Very good Twitter page.
Good find, Sam. Okay, so here is the Steve Fishman, Thomas Kithier interview with Beckman.
But at any rate, there's youngsters in a similar and yet a different situation. He went to Dakota High School. He's a star basketball player. His family's moving to Clarkston, and so he wanted to transfer to Clarkston, which has got another star basketball player. Now, this young man, Thomas Kithier, happens to be a star in his own right, and he's going to go to play at Michigan State in another year. But he's not apparently he's being told by the Michigan High School Athletic Association he can't play this year, his senior year. His attorney is a fellow who knows all about basketball from his days at the University of Michigan in the program there. Steve Fishman, the local attorney, is back with us on the show. Good morning. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, Frank. Everything's all right.
Everything's all right, except for your client who's being told he can't go to Clarkston. His family's moving there, aren't they?
Yes, and the young man is already there, and he's enrolled in school, and he's been there. And quite frankly, all we're trying to do for him is get him to be treated like any other kid who transfers. We understand that he would have to sit out the first semester, which he's doing, and all the other transfers are allowed to play in the second semester, which begins January 15th. And the only thing that Ben Johnson are looking for is for him to be treated like everybody else. We're not looking for money. We're not looking for anything other than just fair treatment and not have it be a pawn in some kind of an argument amongst a bunch of adults who should know better.
Well, how did the argument start? I mean, is it the adults in Dakota who were losing their star player and don't want to? I mean, what's the
just what we've been talking about, Sam?
It starts when the school from which the kid is transferring refuses to sign a form that goes to the MHSAA. And that's what happened here. And once Dakota didn't sign the form, then it goes to the MHSAA, and they're supposed to launch some kind of an impartial investigation.
Impartial.
To see whether or not
keyword
it is transferred for athletic reasons. Because the MHSAA, for some reason unknown to me, has a rule that says that a high school kid can't transfer for athletic reasons. He can transfer to play in the band or for a science program, but God forbid it should be for an athletic reason.
Well, can I tell you something? When we moved out from Detroit to Warren, one of the reasons we went to the area where I could go to Cusno High School was that they had a radio station in the high school where you could learn about broadcasting, and that's one of the reasons we transferred. So I guess that was
so we should blame Warren Cusno for Beckman.
That's precisely what occurred here. In fact, if we wind up going to court, there'll be all kinds of evidence that A, the Kithier family had investigated transferring even the year before, that B, there were certain programs that are available at Clarkston that are not available at Dakota. And then, C, it just seems to me, Frank, and, you're a conservative guy. Should anybody be able to tell parents where they can send their kid to school? I mean, in all reasonableness, what do you think of that?
Well, you're right.
Let me pause it right there.
Yeah.
I think that's a lousy argument because they're not keeping him from going to school.
They're not keeping him from going to school, but they're just keeping him from playing basketball.
I think that's a stretch on his part.
That's a stretch. You know what I mean? That's a stretch.
I mean, he's playing to the the listenership of WJR these days. Okay.
But, clearly when you look at the Kithier case, it clearly has a violation of the 14th Amendment here of the Constitution.
Ooh, give it to me, Sam.
I mean, of course, I was talking to my brother Anthony Termina about this. He told me that I think there's an equal protection clause, I believe, in the Constitution. And, and I think this case does have a 14th Amendment case here. When you look at it, I got to study my law school, but
yeah, that's something I did not do in college.
Yep.
Well, it's funny, lawyers talk, obviously they are, it's about making an argument. That's the whole point, right?
Mm-hmm. But
hoping the court agrees with that argument or one way or the other, either the defendant or the complainant, right?
Yes. Let's look at my final thoughts for the break on this. What do you think? What do you see happening in court?
I don't know. Listening to the argument, I don't know, dude. I'm trying to decide whether or not the kid should play or not. If they have a rule called a link rule in there, and the governing body decided that, yes, it was violated, I don't think they have a leg to stand on. Right. But if there's
a constitutionality issue.
But if the lawyer for Kithier is stating that, is there an underlying argument between adults? They keep bringing it up, right? There's an argument between adults and they go, what is that argument? So I'd love to have Dakota on the stand under oath to go, why are you doing this? That's athletically motivated? Is it out of spite because you don't want to lose a kid? Why deny it? All of a sudden they become holier than thou and they're going to uphold the rules of the MHSAA. I don't know.
This case
it's weird.
Is far from over when you look at this one. Keep updated on the blog at Sammy@blogspot.com for the latest around the Thomas Kithier situation. We're going to head on the break here. We're going to address some basketball concerns here for some teams, some strengths and weaknesses here on Oaa Now.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Termina here with Ian Locke. Aside the Thomas Kithier situation, we can finally talk a little bit of basketball, of course.
Let's get off that crazy train.
Let's look at some teams that I think, let's look at girls first. Some surprise teams here. As mentioned, of course, now, not a lot of games were played on Thursday because of the snowstorm, because of a surprise Clippers that turned into a snowstorm.
That was nasty.
That was surprising, but there were a couple teams that did play. There were a couple teams that did play, and a couple of big games are on the docket this upcoming week. Let's start with Tuesday. I think we're going to go based on division, of course. Let's go with the blue division first. The big one, I think, in that one is Avondale at Farmington. That'll be a very interesting match, considering that Avondale's got a lot of experience for Coach Phil Dawson and his team. Going up against Farmington. Of course, we know about the Harrison situation surrounding Olivia Perkins. And that's a big matchup right there because I think it's a big test to see who has an early leg up in that blue division.
Yeah, should be a good game, and it's like I said, I just can't get enough of this high school basketball stuff. It's a lot of fun to watch. The kids play hard, And it's just a fun game. You know that one's going to come out, and people are going to battle.
And Avondale, I think when you look at them, they got a lot of experience back. When you look at that team, of course, you have very good athletes on that team. So it'll be very interesting to see what Avondale's got heading into that one. Another one, let's go in the white division. You look at that matchup, it's Groves taking on Royal Oak.
Ooh.
That'll be a big one when you look at that one.
So how have both teams been doing so far, Sam?
Of course, Groves right now comes in with a 3-1 record. Of course, we know about Shea Carter. We know about the experience they got on their first-year coach, Jessica Weasler. Royal Oak is 4-1.
Okay.
Of course, Royal Oak has not really played as strong of a schedule as Groves has. But, of course, Royal Oak's only loss, and both of their teams' only losses were oddly to Clarkston.
Really?
Yep. They were oddly to Clarkston. Both those teams did lose to Clarkston.
And Clarkston, a solid club.
They're solid. Yep. When you look at Caleb Lukenbach, Maui Nicholson, Maddie Beck, Taylor Heaton.
Yeah, that's
they're solid.
2-4-1 teams rolling in. That should be exciting as well.
Groves is 3-1.
3-1.
Groves, so that'll be a good game. Yeah. I think that'll be a good one down at Royal Oak on Tuesday. And then the red matchup, I think it's gonna be an interesting matchup. It's Lake Orion at North Farmington. This North Farmington coming in at 4-0 really haven't been tested. Stony Creek gave them a big time scare on Friday night. But North Farmington riding Samantha Cheerney heading into that one. When you look at what Cheerney's done, of course, she's been a triple-double machine. She had 14 points, 17 rebounds, and 14 blocks against Stony Creek.
14 blocks?
Yeah, that's how, because she uses her height to her advantage. But taking on a Lake Orion team that I think can match them size-wise, but the big concern for this team, of course, is Cameron Coltrane. And Cameron Coltrane did suffer an injury.
Oh, no.
A leg injury where an ambulance had to be called against Seaholm. And
I didn't hear that one.
So she'll be out probably for an extended amount of time.
That's
when you look at it, and it's unfortunate there. But knowing Lake Orion, they got some size. They got some height. You know what I mean? And it's going to force Coach Mike Griffin to make some adjustments heading into that matchup.
And you see sometimes how does a team react to an injury, right? Do they rally or do they crumble?
That's the question surrounding this Lake Orion girls basketball team is how do you respond from this injury? Does this pick you guys up, motivate you guys, or does this tear you apart?
Yeah.
And that's the big test I think the Dragons are going to see not only on Tuesday but also on Thursday.
Yeah.
So when you look at Lake Orion and Lake Orion, I think this is a fine basketball team. I think they're going to be fine. I really do. I think that now they got to rally together. They got to put some players in different positions they're not comfortable with. But I think this is a trap game for North Farmington. I really do. In this game with Lake Orion, now it's at home for North Farmington. Okay. But I think Lake Orion, if they can somehow handle that 2-1 trap that North Farmington likes to run, it's that negotiation style trap. I think they got a chance here.
Yeah, and the Dragons, if they can pull one of these two out, it would give them a good motivator rolling into the break.
Yeah, it'll give them a good motivator.
They need some sort of pick-me-up.
They need to pick me up a little bit. Well, they've won 2 straight games. Of course, beat Pontiac Notre Dame Preparatory is a good team, and then of course beating Seaholm, not that good. But it was a good win for them. Yeah. But a team I think that's really been struggling. That's got me a little worried. Oddly enough, Southfield Arts and Tech, all the talent they've got. They're 0-4.
Still?
They'll probably win against Adams on Tuesday. They'll be I think they'll be 1-4, but they got to play Clarkston on them on Friday night over at Clarkston.
Yeah,
that's going to be a tough matchup right there.
Tough gym, tough team.
But you look at the Warriors' losses. Wall Lake Western, Flint Carmen Ainsworth, River Rouge, and Cleveland Northwood. All good teams.
Yeah.
So Michelle Marshall's got them playing a very tough schedule. But do you think it's time? Do you think she should lessen toughness of the schedule?
Well, we've seen other coaches do it.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the coach can read the personnel and how they can handle this sort of thing. They know what the team can take. And so, they usually don't throw too much at them.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe this is too much.
Maybe it's too much.
It might be too much.
And they got players, very good players. When you look at them, Alexis Johnson and Cheyenne McEvans, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's too much on them a little bit.
What's their? Have they played any league competition?
No, they start league play against Adams on Tuesday and Clarkston on Friday.
All right,
so that'll be a big one for the Warriors.
And it all depends on league play.
And then they got Detroit Renaissance coming up as well. So that'll be a tough matchup for the Warriors going forward there. Let's talk about Stony Creek. I mean, like, I call Kellen James's team like a therapy session. They sit 1-4 right now. I mean, they got a lot of inexperience and youth. They had 3 of those losses, I think, were to very good teams. I think the Oxford one was a horrible loss for them.
Oh.
But what do you see of Stony Creek? Of course, they got to play Flat Rock on December the 29th. I think they're fine. When you look at Stony Creek, I think they're fine. I think they're going to get it.
Yeah.
But I think these 10 days are going to be very critical for Stony Creek. They're going to be very critical.
Yeah, anybody sporting one win at this time of year, what's your confidence level?
That's the question that Kellen James has got to figure out. That's the question he's got to figure out.
Yep.
I mean, and other teams I think that have been up there. Of course, you can take a look at this in my blog. I've updated my blog surrounding it. So you can take a look at it. Let's go to boys basketball.
Boys basketball.
Of course, when I look at boys basketball, of course, we know about Clarkson. We know about Hazel Park's off to a nice start. Troy's off to a nice start. Let's talk about a team I think I'm very concerned about, and that's Pontiac. Because Pontiac, they sit right now at 0-4.
Oh.
And they came off a loss to Southfield Christian. Southfield Christian's very good. And they've lost games to Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, Waterford, Vermont, and Detroit Community.
Close games? Or
a couple of them were close games. Some were blowouts. I mean,
blowouts are...
They were blown out by Southfield Christian. Southfield Christian's a very good team.
All right.
So...
If they're close games, you don't hit the panic button just yet.
Yeah.
Because, they're competing.
Yeah, but that's a team I'm very concerned about.
Go Phoenix.
A team I think that's very unproven right now is the Berkeley Bears. They sit 3-0.
Good for them.
They do host Ferndale University on Tuesday. It should be a win for them. And then they should be unbeaten heading into their game December the 29th against Madison Heights Bishop Foley.
Okay.
That'll be interesting for what Joe Sermo's team's got. But other teams, that I'm concerned about, Olympia Hills is a team I'm very concerned about. I know our friends at the Biff radio station over there at Olympia Hills.
Do a good job over there.
They do a very good job over there, but they lost to Detroit Cass Tech and Groves at 1-2. They have Seaholm on Tuesday, which is going to be a very interesting game there. And then they have to play on Pontiac Notre Dame Prep and then Detroit Western. That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. So when I look at Olympia Hills, you know what I mean? They're a team that scares me a little bit. They really are.
Scares you in a good way?
Bad way.
Bad way.
Mm-hmm. They scare me a little bit. And then let's talk about wrestling a little bit. Of course, we have the Oakland County meet. There's the Oakland County meet. You look at the top teams. Oxford, they were top in the county.
Always tough. Was that this last weekend at Lake Orion?
Weekend at Lake Orion.
Yeah.
Number 2 was Clarkson. Lake Orion was number 3.
Nice.
And then you had Southfield Arts and Tech. They had a nice show in there. But when you look at the county wrestling, you know what I mean? Do you think the big 3 schools, when you look at Lake Orion, Clarkson, Oxford, are the teams to beat this year? You got Davison in Genesee County.
Yeah. I'd say yes. Mm-hmm. It always seems to be, at least Oxford's always being a pest, But this year, it's if you get those top 3, it's interesting that you got 3 rival schools competing for the 1, 2, 3 spots. So anytime, we'll have to keep an eye on that. I know we'll be out, ONTV at least will be out at a couple wrestling matches in January.
That'd be very
We're going to try to do 2 of them. And so we'll have more on that. But, we'll keep an eye on Lake Orion and Oxford as we move along. But, I think those are the top 3. Cream Rise is the top, and
you got Adams, Rochester still there too.
It's tough. Yeah. And did you have any scores on there? How close were those? Oxford by a landslide?
Won it, landslide. Clarkson was second best for sure. I mean, Lake Orion was third, had a battle with Holly.
Okay.
We'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah, wrestling. Got to give some pub to those wrestling guys.
You got to give some love to them. We'll see what happens going forward.
Yep. And then we got something we don't really talk about on here that much, but it's kind of my forte is swimming.
Yeah.
So OA swimming's coming up, right? Winter sports. The guys are getting ready for their winning conditioning.
It's very interesting to see what happens in swimming. I think when you look at Groves and Seaholm are two of the top teams in swimming.
Really good swim clubs around Oakland County. Just tough teams. So
of course, I think the Birmingham schools very solid swim teams. So we'll see what happens
absolutely.
Going forward.
Cool.
Of course, before we sign on off here, of course, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Sam. You too. Do you got any plans? Anything fun? Watching some
probably
football?
Watching football. Yeah, that's probably going to be me. And then keeping an eye, of course, on the Christmas tournaments, of course, coming up. Of course, we will keep an eye on the Round Ball Classics and everything on the blog at Sammy@blogspot.com. So take a look at the blog and see how your teams do in the Christmas Day tournaments. Of course, there's going to be one at Bloomfield Hills. Of course, there's a lot at Detroit Edison for the girls' side of the round ball. And then, of course, you have some in the Detroit area for the boys' side of the Motor City round ball.
So you'll have updates on your blog.
We will have updates on the blog. We will have updates on the blog. I mean, and then the next time we're on, we'll recap it here on the podcast.
You guys don't realize how hard Sammy works at this stuff. I mean, he gets the information. He's got the inside scoop. And to take all that time to put that together, when, we've talked about this in the past, and we talked to some other high school sports fans, it's so difficult to find information on the games and how are things going, that you are offering a true community service to sports fans, high school sports fans. So kudos to you, Mr. Sam. I appreciate it.
We will keep an eye on the tournaments here as we speak. So, okay, now everybody, I'm signing off here. Have a special Merry Christmas, everybody. Good luck this week. And see you all in 2018.
Yeah, have a safe New Year, too, there, Sam.
You too. Happy New Year, too.
Oaa Now is produced by Sammy Terramina and ONTV. The views on this show are Sammy's and Sammy's alone. If you'd like to start your own webcast or radio show here at the local voice at Orient Neighborhood Television, give us a call at 248-393-1060. Podcast classes begin in January. Give us a call. See ya.